What's up, everybody? I'm B-True, and today I'm going to bring you some gameplay of my Lightning Whirlwind Barb build that I just released a video of a few days ago. Now, a lot of people have been asking questions. They want to see some gameplay of the actual builds, and I didn't want to make the build videos too long. They're already about 9 or 10 minutes long, so what I did was I split up the build and the gameplay video. So this is the gameplay of the Barbarian build that I gave you, and there's a link in the description for you guys. So basically, you have your two shouts. One increases your resistances and your life regeneration, and the other one increases your damage. Those two you want to have going at all time. It's very critical that you use your war cry at specific times when you start to get low in fury. That's something that's very important. You want to make sure you have high fury at all times, so don't just use it whenever. Make sure you use it when you start to get low on fury to generate more. Wrath of the Berserker you want to save for when you have elite and champion packs around. Obviously, that's your main DPS booster, and it also helps you survive a little bit more. So you want to save that for when some champion and elite packs are around. So then you've got Hammer of the Ancients, Frenzy, and Whirlwind. Now obviously this build is called the Lightning Whirlwind build, and that's because all of your damage is going to be lightning. So you want to have as much lightning skill increase as you can on your gear. And Whirlwind is the main skill that you're going to be using in this build. And there's a couple reasons for that, and I'll get to that in a second. Now first off, you have Frenzy. Frenzy is one of your main ways of generating fury. When you need to do a lot of single target damage, that is what you'll use. It also has the stun effect on it with the rune that I have for it, with making it a lightning damage also. So next you have Whirlwind. Now with the Wind Shear rune, Whirlwind generates 1 fury for every enemy hit. And you can see here, when you hit enemies at like 3 or 4 at a time, you're able to sort of maintain the same amount of fury that you started with. When you start hitting more than 4 enemies, you start generating fury with your Whirlwind. So theoretically, if you were to hit more than 4 enemies all at the same time, you would have an infinite amount of fury generation that would just continue forever, and you could just Whirlwind forever until they die. Now one of the reasons you don't necessarily want to do this is because you have Hammer of the Ancients as a skill, and Hammer of the Ancients does a lot of damage. So what you want to do is you want to use your Whirlwind skill to generate fury and to move through packs of people and to kind of get out of dangerous situations. But it also does a lot of damage, so you want to Whirlwind into people to get in a good position. Now when you have more than 50% of your fury, you want to use Hammer of the Ancients as much as possible, because for every 5 fury, Hammer of the Ancients has a 1% increased chance of being a critical hit. So as long as you have above 50% fury, you're able to have a much more increased damage from your Hammer of the Ancients, and you're able to spam it for a while based on what's going on. So you want to spam Hammer of the Ancients to get below 50% of your fury, then start Whirlwinding again, hopefully going through enough enemies that you generate fury back until you can use Hammer of the Ancients, and then kind of you want to cycle back and forth between that. Whirlwind when you have less than 50% fury, Hammer of the Ancients when you have more, and that's how you're going to do the massive amounts of your damage. Now, as you guys can see, with the Superstition rune, not only does it give you the increased toughness, but it also really helps you to generate a ton of fury. Whenever you take non-physical damage, you generate a lot of... You have a chance to generate fury for each second. So the more damage you're taking from non-physical skills, the more you're able to generate fury. And occasionally, depending on what you're standing in, you have the opportunity to have an infinite amount of fury, because it will continue to generate and generate, and you're able to spam Hammer of the Ancients the entire time as you're generating this fury. So when you're in the middle of elite and champion packs, sometimes depending on how much damage they're doing, if you're able to stand in the middle of their attacks, you can just Hammer the Ancients constantly with full fury until they die. But that's something that you want to kind of keep track of, obviously. Sometimes you need to Whirlwind to get out of position, get out of the damage. Sometimes I Whirlwind into damage, depending on how much damage they're doing. So like I said, I can use Hammer of the Ancients constantly. But this build has a lot of ways to generate fury. and that Fury is, like I said, very important for your Hammer of the Ancient skill, and there's a lot of ways for you to get it back. Now, particularly when you're going up against a Rift boss, if he is the only enemy on screen, I would not use Whirlwind. There really isn't a point because you're going to be losing Fury the entire time. I would use Frenzy, especially because it is a high single target DPS skill, and it has the stun chance on it. So I would use that to generate your Fury, Hammer the Ancients when you get above 50%, and I would rotate back and forth between Frenzy and Hammer the Ancients rather than Whirlwind. Now, if the Rift boss is surrounded by a bunch of enemies, then you can use Whirlwind for the increased damage and the Fury generation, and that works out pretty well. But otherwise, I would stick to Frenzy. So guys, if there's anything that you guys want to know, any questions you have, or anything you want to tell me about how you guys are running this build or what you think of it, please leave a comment below. If you found this or the build video helpful, please give it a like. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with my future Reaper of Souls videos. I'm gonna let this video run for a little while here. That way you guys can see, a little bit more gameplay of it, see what's going on without me talking in the background. You guys can kind of focus on what's going on. I hope you guys enjoy this video and have a great day, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.